Okay, so here we are back to our emerging trends part 2, and we were discussing about the various AI things which we have maybe not learned but seen around us. Okay, the first concept we discussed yesterday was about AI and what exactly AI is trying to do in our lives. It has already invaded our lives to a great extent, and more so with times to come, it will be doing more things for us, helping us out. I told you it's not going to replace humans, it's not possible to replace humans, but yes, of course, it will be of great help. Okay, and there we learned about machine learning, that how do I make a machine intelligent? AI is all about making the machine intelligent. So we discussed and we saw that how can I make my machine intelligent? So then you have to actually think, how did I become intelligent? How did human acquire intelligence? When a child is newborn, he doesn't know anything as such, right? So how does that happen with years? It is the experience. A child studies in school, he learns a lot of things there, he sees his environment, he sees the people around, and picks up a lot of things, the language, the etiquettes, the way of behaving, uh, and of course other knowledge related things also. Everything a child adapts to, learns. That means with experience, with situations. So that is what we try to give to our machine also. And then machine also starts learning step by step by step. So data becomes a very, very important factor for a machine to become intelligent. Okay. So we discussed about all these things. We said that how does a facial recognition work as an example of AI? How do I train my model? We took up an example of sensing system, like when somebody is coming to your door and you have a sensing system there, whether to open the door or not, or whether to inform the house master whether it is a known person or it is a somebody, a thief, somebody trying to enter who the family doesn't know. So all these information, how does face recognition technology help us work with that? Okay. Next, which I left for today was a NLP. Now, I said there are three domains for AI. Anybody who remembers? Three domains of AI which we talk about. Data sciences, NLP, and computer vision. Okay, overall three domains are there where your AI is working. Right? By data science, I mean that situations where huge chunks of data is being given to the system and he is developing mathematical models to analyze that and get information out of it and take up decisions, do something ultimately. Okay. Computer vision is where your input to the system becomes whatever you are seeing, whatever the machine is seeing. So vision based input. Fine. Third thing is your NLP, natural language processing. Now, this aspect is also very important. Like a child learns a language with ears. If somebody, like being a Bengali myself, my child adapted to the Bengali language very fast because he would listen to that throughout the day at our homes. Similarly, Hindi, if you are speaking in in somebody's household, or somebody speaking Tamil language, or somebody speaking English for that matter, the child grasps that language very fast because he's constantly listening to that, and he will start responding to that language very fast. Other languages, he'll take time. Like my child took time understanding and responding to Hindi when he started going to school, or maybe meeting people around when he would move out, right? Or English, because English he would maybe listen to things in school, he would learn the language, but he was not fluent in it because at home he was constantly speaking Bengali, right? So that means what a machine also has to be good at language processing. If you are making him intelligent, if you want him to talk to people, if you want him to interact with people, like they say robots, like they say in restaurants, we have many restaurants, like in Bangalore, we have one, we have in Guwahati, we have one where you have robots taking orders, communicating with people, talking to people, responding to their queries. How do they do it? Until and unless they understand the language being spoken, right? So NLP is also a very, very important aspect of AI machines, where the machine tries to understand and interpret the language in which you are speaking to him. Anybody who can give me an example that at homes also nowadays we are using devices where NLP is being used? Anybody? With phones we use it, with our homes we use it. Come on, you all use that. You all see that in TV. I mean, in advertisements. Alexa is one example. Don't you say? Alexa, do this, Alexa, do that. Siri, yes. All these things have come up, and I think past 1 or 2 years, people have been buying these devices like anything during these Amazon sales and all. Isn't it? Because everybody wants to experiment with all this. Okay, so that is the meaning of NLP, domain of AI, basically, right? That's what we're trying to say here. NLP is a branch of AI that deals with the interaction between computers and humans using the natural language. If I speak Tamil, he should respond back to me in Tamil. If I speak Hindi, he should respond back to me in Hindi. After understanding what I said, he should be able to respond back. Right? So the ultimate objective of NLP is to read, decipher, understand, and make sense of the human language the way naturally a human being does. You don't have to think, but you understand what I'm saying now. Because you know the language which I'm speaking. If I start speaking in Bengali, you will not be able to understand. Why? Because you don't know how Bengali is spoken or whatever. You don't know the meaning of the words or meaning of the quotes I might be using. You don't understand them. Okay. So most NLP techniques rely on machine learning to derive meanings from human language. So machine learning becomes a core part. That's why we did immediately after understanding what AI is, machine learning. Why? Because for everything, machine has to learn. Like if I'm saying he has to understand Hindi language, so he has to learn Hindi language. If I'm saying he should be able to understand and interpret my Tamil, he should be able to, he has to learn the Tamil language also, the syntaxes of Tamil language, the, what do you call it? Like in English, I've got alphabets, A, B, C, D. So similarly, the alphabets of all the languages he is supposed to communicate with. He's supposed to know and communicate with people. It's not easy, but yes, you have to train the machine accordingly. Then only he can respond. Otherwise, he cannot. Like Google has also expanded in these terms enormously. I mean, enormously means enormously actually. In Google, I can speak also and search. So any language I speak, he understands. I set the language and then I speak to him. He's able to understand. I type in for searching. In Google search, I type. He is able to pick up my language. And he is giving us support for Bangla, I think majority of languages, Tamil, Malayalam, Gurmukhi, Punjabi, he gives us support for that. Your phones give us support for that. How? It is all based on making my machine learn the language and accordingly interpret. And that domain is actually the NLP of AI. Fine. So NLP is the driving force for these common applications which we use nowadays. Google Translate. Google Translate is able to give you options to translate for so many languages. Anybody who's used Google Translate ever? I'll give you a very funny example when I'm using it.
Yes, ma'am.
When have you used it?
Ma'am, in every French class.
I bet. I too used it this year too because my son started reading French, and for his exam I was clueless. No idea whether he's speaking and telling me the correct answer or not.
Larousse or Word Reference is a better dictionary though. Google
Oh,
Translate is it tells the different tenses, and it's sometimes incorrect as well.
Oh God. So my teacher is incorrect in that case. But anyway, it helped me understand a few things and I could guide him accordingly one day before the exam. But okay, I took help there. Okay, so you have many options nowadays. Google Translate is one of them, right? Then you have in your normal processor, word processors also, the understanding of NLP. Why? Because they are able to check your grammar and rectify your text. That means they're able to understand the language, the nuances of the languages in the language in which you're typing, isn't it? Then you have these, of course, these interactive voice responses nowadays. Whether you go for ticket booking or querying for ticket booking centers, then for food apps, then you have the medical emergencies के लिए you have these. I book my LPG. There I have an interactive voice response talking to me. Please enter your 6-digit this. Please do this, do that. Okay, so that's my interactive voice response. Then of course, all your personal assistant applications. Yeah, I forgot the name personal assistant when I was talking earlier. Personal assistants, all these. Okay, Google, then Siri, then Cortana, then Alexa. All these are using or based on this domain of AI, like this is your NLP. I would say a lot of work has to be done in this regard because the way you speak, that is the accent, is very very important for your system. It has still not become above than that. कि कुछ भी accent में बोलो and he is able to understand. It's not that perfect, but yes, they are working towards it, and I think with time things will definitely improve. Like Payas said, Google translates, and now you have a better dictionary available, right? So similarly, for everything you have something better coming nowadays. Every day things are improving, and hence you are also expected to improve rather than go down. Just check out your scores on unit test 1 and check out your scores in unit test 2 and see whether it's an improvement or it's a go down thing. As with time you are getting into the subject, you should improve. Getting into your class 11, you should improve rather than go down, isn't it? Because the world is improving day by day. Correct? So that's about the, you can say, one of the domains which we talk about, that is NLP, a very, very important one. Then there's one more technology coming up, that is immersive experience. How many of you have experienced this world of augmented reality and virtual reality? Anybody? I think few of these gaming zones have that. Who has experienced?
What, ma'am? What?
The world of augmented reality or virtual reality. Okay, Vibhav is done. Vibhav, can you please explain where have you done it and how was it? Because I have done augmented but not virtual. How was it? You did it in some gaming app or somewhere else?
I have experienced VR.
Where have you experienced? You've experienced virtual reality. Good. Where? I mean, how?
Ma'am, actually, I had a device which I could use to see movies in VR.
Okay, you still have that device?
I mean, it broke a while ago.
Okay. So you have these devices available in the market, right? You bought it from somewhere. Or
Yes,
somebody
ma'am.
gifted you. Actually, you bought it. Okay. So this is also a very, very, I would not say upcoming because people are using it. And it's interesting because you are transported to a different world when I talk about virtual reality. Now, there's a very basic difference in between augmented reality and virtual reality. Okay. Please understand that. Both is talking about a virtual space. I mean, something which is actually not there. Both are talking about that. But the way they are implemented is different. The perception is actually different. When I say augmented reality, I'm saying that in my own space where I'm sitting, like in my room, I try to get the things from outside. I might get a mountain, I might have a snake crawling, or what do you call it? this thing. I might have a dog licking my face. So I am sitting at a place and I don't have any dogs around me, but suddenly I'm able to create an experience where a dog is barking and he comes to me and he wags his tail and does something. But I am at my place and I make others come over. That's augmented reality. Okay. Virtual reality is just the opposite. Virtual reality is sitting at your own place. You are transported to a different world through that kind of an experience. That supposedly you wear those devices, what even he was talking about, and the picture shows you on the slide that wearing this device takes you to the world of a jungle, maybe. Fine. And you feel that experience just the way that you are present there. So you are taken to that place to feel that experience. That is virtual reality. Okay. The concept is different completely. AR says, yeah, AR says you are coming, you are there, the others are coming to your world. You're bringing those things happening around you. Right? And there's an app on my phone also. I'll show it to you in the next class if possible, or maybe next week when we get time. That how it looks like. I'll show you that. There's an app available on your Play Store. And then virtual reality says that you go to the other world to experience that. Okay. It's definitely meant for gaming applications, entertainment, and other things, just to feel relaxed. You might be transported to a sea beach. You can't go yourself physically, especially in these lockdown days, past 2 years. A virtual reality experience could be very, very nerve soothing. Isn't it? People sitting at home and wearing a device and they feel that, oh, I'm enjoying the waters in on a sea beach. That's excellent, actually. Fine. So that is how the difference has to be very, very clear in your mind. Okay. So augmented reality, if I go by the definition of it, it adds digital elements to a live view. So you are a live view and elements add to your presence. Okay. By using cameras or smartphones, right? Like Snapchat lenses, I think everybody has used it and they understand what exactly I'm talking about. That is augmented reality. Okay. In other words, if you see the real world supplemented with digital objects, that's AR. Right? Coming down to VR, it's a complete immersion experience that shuts out the physical world. So you are out. You completely transport yourself to the other world. Property agents, automobile dealers can use virtual reality for this purpose. So seeing a photo of a particular thing, like if I'm talking about a property, you're talking about buying a house somewhere in Los Angeles and you're sitting in Delhi. Right? Now that person sends you photographs. Okay, photos dekha, video bhi dekha, that's okay. But you yourself landing up into that place through a digital technology and experiencing is a definitely different experience altogether. Okay. So that is what is virtual reality all about. Right? So VR is an immersive. So unlike photos, VR is immersive. So potential buyers can take a three-dimensional walkthrough and better understand what each property or car has to offer before visiting in person. So like you don't have to go to Los Angeles every other day when your property dealer is trying to show you a house. You can sit here, experience that house and make a decision. So these things are really helpful at times. Isn't it? So these are the two things I discussed about NLP and your immersive experience today. Okay, read about it. These things are very, very interesting. Definitely high-end technologies, but they are walking into our homes nowadays easily, very, very easily. Isn't it? We carry on further with next week we'll do it, robotics and smart cities. Once we have done a little bit of a revision for the first term. Okay. So let's get